guys, and very big welcome back to my channel. My name's Lucas and you're watching Let's Talk Tech. Now today's a little bit of content was meant to be a comparison regarding, or in between should I say, the Sony Xperia 5 Mark IV and also the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV. Sadly that cannot go ahead because I was stupid enough to put my SD card back into the 1 Mark IV. And I've now sent that back to the shop, so some lucky person out there is got a nice 1TB SD card. But it's not all doom and gloom, because I will just do a review, or should I say an update or a part 2 maybe, regarding the power management in this device here and how well Sony have managed to do that. I will also be putting a few bits and pieces in regarding a few issues that I've found with the camera system on the 5 Mark IV. So anyhow, carry on watching. I'll catch you in a minute. Right then guys, before we move into the power management of this device here, let me just explain to you that we actually had a software update for the Sony Xperia 5 Mark IV and also the Xperia 1 Mark IV. Now in the notes of the update it was obviously security patches, etc, along with the volume or the microphone quality that people were having when talking to other people, and the fact that it was too low. Now I never actually had an issue with this device here, but I will be honest with you, the call quality is a lot better according to the people that I've actually phoned. Now the other thing that was not in the notes regarding the update to this guy was about the fingerprint reader, or fingerprint scanner should I say. Now for some miraculous reason this guy here is far better, as I'll prove to you now. Literally instantly, bang, straight in. Now as soon as I downloaded the update, she went in sweeter than sweet. Now I have not registered any of my fingerprints on this guy here at all. She's literally, it just worked out of the box. As soon as the software downloaded was applied to the device, the fingerprint scanner just worked flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly. So a big thumbs up for Sony for that one, even though they never put anything in the notes regarding that update and the fingerprint reader. So thank you ever so much for Sony for that one, brilliant news. Now let's move on to the next thing. Right then guys, now let me explain something to you about the power management in this device and how good Sony have actually sorted it, because this device here is definitely the best device in 2023 when it comes to not only its cameras but also its power management. Now last night I took this phone off charge. It was 11 o'clock or 2300 hours last night, and believe it or not, it's still on 98%. It's 12:15 the very next day, and on screen time I've done 24 minutes. So a fantastic job what Sony have done regarding the power management on this, and when I mean it goes on and on and on, I do mean it's almost an everlasting battery. Do I dare say that? 2 days, a piece of cake, this device will run without even sweating it. Now let me show you something else. This is when I was using the camera for about 5.5 hours solid on this particular day. Now I also was using the internet and telephoning people, etc. Now I still had 38% battery left, and the screen on time, as you can quite clearly see, is 7 hours and 34 minutes. Now how can you beat that? I personally think that the screen on time, if I carried on using my device, the screen on time would quite easily reach I would easily say 12, maybe 13 hours of on-screen time. So what Sony have done is incredible, because I've never ever in my entire life had a device with a battery this good. Now I've actually been trying to do a review on this guy here. Now I've been doing this easily for 40 minutes I would imagine, and I'm still on 98% battery. And it's like I said, the battery management that Sony have done in this device alone is well worth buying. Now let's move on to the not so good things about the Sony Xperia 5iv. Now when I talk about the issues regarding the Sony Xperia 5iv, it's not a deal breaker what I'm about to say, but it is to do with the camera system itself. Now, I will go into slight depth regarding it, but you will see what I mean. Now, one of the issues that I do have with this device, and that's the placement of the volume rocker button, which doubles up as your zoom in and zoom out function button. Now, it's placed a little bit too far down here, so effectively your hand is covering the screen and you can't see what you're zooming in and out on. Well, you can, but it can get in the way. Now the other issue that I do have with it, and I'll show you now once I get it onto the camera itself, and you will see what I mean. Now when you zoom out or in, you get that horrible little click. Now this will come out on your video, which I'll show you now. So let's play that back and you'll see what I mean. Now when you zoom out or in, you get that horrible little click. Now this will come out, see what I mean. Now as you can quite clearly hear for yourself, you get that horrible clickiness on the screen. Now I know what you guys are going to say, but you have your zooming out on screen. That's all good and well, but have you noticed how notchy it is? It's very, very notchy when you do it that way. Now, I personally think it's a little bit naughty of Sony for doing what they've done, because they want you to go out and buy their selfie stick for this device here, which will take away that horrible clicking noise. Now, you're looking at something like, it's £170 to buy their selfie stick with the remote control on it. Now, personally, I won't pay for it, but some people would. Now, let's move on to the other issue I have with the camera side of this device. Now, the other issue that I do have with this device, and that's once again is to do with the video recording side of things, and that is simply that two out of the 3 apps do not include the audio level facility to adjust your audio volume. Now, the Basic and the Video Pro do not allow you to do that. And if I'm honest with you, the actual audio level is quite low in comparison to the Samsung or the Google Pixel phones that I've actually owned. And I'm actually using a Samsung phone now. Now, even though the Samsung phone that I'm actually using to do this clip with, this also hasn't got an audio level to mess around with, but the same quality is clear and it's loud, or on this guy it's quite low, so you need to bear that in mind. Now, the only app that Sony actually give you with this is the Cinema Pro app, and I will show you guys now what I mean. And when you click onto that, you'll have your audio level. in my camera will zoom in, which it isn't because it's being an absolute arsehole today. There we go, that's a little bit better. Now you have this that you can adjust. Now on the Video Pro, on the basic app, you have not got this at all to mess around with. Just so that you guys know, and I think the reason behind that is that Sony actually want you to use a proper microphone setup where you have a microphone attached to a t-shirt or jumper or coat, effectively to do it the proper way. Now there's another issue with that as well, where once again the basic app, you have the full function of zoom between the 3 actual camera lenses itself. Now the Video Pro doesn't allow you to do that. You have to be on a single camera and you can zoom up to that point, but I will explain more about that in another video. But this is not a deal breaker when it comes to owning the Sony Xperia 5iv. Now, like I said right at the start of the beginning of the video, this video was actually meant to be a comparison against the Sony Xperia 5iv and the Sony Xperia 1iv. Now, because I was absolutely dumb enough to actually put my memory card, or SD card should I say, back into the 1iv, thinking that it was the 5iv, because all of my footage that I'd taken was on that one SD card. I posted the phone back and left the SD card inside of it. So all of my footage is gone. So you're gonna have to bear with me, and I will tell you the reason why I think that the Xperia 5iv is far better than the Xperia 1iv. And it comes down to a few simple things. One of them being is the screen brightness. Now the screen brightness on the 1iv was a lot lower than the 5iv. Now this is obviously in direct sunlight. You cannot see the screen at all on the 1iv. That was the one thing that ticked the X mark in the box for me. Now the second thing was battery life in the 1iv. When I'm talking 16 hours difference, you knew that it was 16 hours difference. Where this guy here will last 2 days easily on low to medium usage. The 1iv, you just got through a day. You just got through the day with the 1iv, which was kind of sad really. And the other thing I did notice is that with the cameras, even though the cameras are identical in both models of phone, they're identical apart from the periscope lens obviously, there was a big difference when it comes to the actual video quality. Now on the 5iv, which is this guy here, where you take a video or a picture, what you see with the naked eye is what you get in quality on this guy here, as simple as. Now on the 1iv, the picture quality for some reason was very soft, and it didn't really look like what you was looking at. Now I think why Sony done that was because of the periscope lens. It was keeping the color contrast all the same, because they boasted, or should I say Sony boasted, about the continuous zoom that they had from 0 to max being the same without any color differences. Where on this guy, as I will show you now, you will see a color difference when you zoom in and out. If I bring this right up here and tilt it slightly, you will see when you get up to, you will sometimes see a color difference. And obviously I'm wondering whether the fix on the update is sorted that issue out as well. So I've just made myself look a right headline. But before the update, should I say, the colour difference, you can see it flickering from one lens to the next, and this has just proven to me that it's different. Give me a second, I'm going to have a quick check to see if that's actually the case. Right then guys, I have some brilliant news. Now obviously I've just done a quick check, had a quick play around with the camera and the video with the camera, and I can now confirm that within that software update that Sony provided 2 or 3 days ago, there was quite clearly an update for the camera itself. Now in their footnotes there was nothing at all to do with anything to do with the camera. Now I can actually vouch now that between these cameras here and this one here, the actual quality or video quality remains the same. What I mean by that is, I mean the colour quality. Now as a rule these two were absolutely fine, but as soon as you moved into this camera here, there was a noticeable difference with colour shift. But now they are all the same. So effectively this device here is on the same league, or almost the same league, is the One Mark IV. So you'll have no colour shift going from one lens to the next to the next, which makes this device even better than what I thought, because that was another one of my bugbears, if you wish, that when you zoomed in on something you will get a colour shift from the second to the third camera when you were zooming in, and then when you zoom back out you saw that colour shift again. Now that has been clearly fixed on here, as you guys actually saw on my test, to show you the difference when it comes to the camera and its zoom facility. So apologies for that. The Sony have just made me out to be a bit of a liar because of their software update on this guy. So there you have it guys. Now I will be doing, and I do promise I will be doing an update regarding these cameras here, and what you can do with them and what you can't do with them. Now the 3 reasons why I returned or sent back the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV back. And one was the screen brightness. Now in bright or direct sunlight you could not see that screen on the Xperia 1 Mark IV at all. It was impossible to see anything at all, unlike this device here, which is the 5 Mark IV. Now the second reason is battery life in the 1 Mark IV. You knew that you were missing the 16 hours of battery life in the 1 Mark IV compared to this guy here, because literally it only lasted, if you were lucky, a day and a bit, if you were lucky. Now the third reason that I sent the 1 Mark IV back was that for some reason, and I still cannot work out for the life of me why, but the Xperia 1 Mark IV overheated on me 3-4 times while recording video. Now I was actually recording the same content on this device here, and this device here had no overheating issues. Now I'm not trying to say that I've never had overheating issues with this device here. There was just once, and that was in the 5 hours that I was recording solidly for. It flicked up once where I had to literally leave the device for about 5 minutes, it cooled down, and ever since it was absolutely fine. But anyhow guys, that was the reason why I actually sent the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV back. Like I said, I will be doing a proper review when it comes to the video and photography of the Sony Xperia 5 Mark IV and what the apps are capable of. So please, please, please like and subscribe, because once again, it doesn't cost you anything, and it does help this channel out and makes this channel seem to be more worthwhile, if you like. Anyway guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Catch you soon on the next one. Bye bye.